Hi, welcome to another episode of the TPF podcast. I'm Kris Simonich, and my partner is Andrea Floyd. And on this podcast, we try to deconstruct best practices from our industry's best minds. Today, our guest is Lyle Myers. He's the Chief Development Officer for iFlex. Lyle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Kris. Andrea, great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. We're glad to have you here. So, Lyle, let's start out. Tell us a little bit about iFlex. What do you do? And then how did it come about? Give us the background.
Yeah, I love that. I will tell you that iFlex Stretch Studios comes to franchising with a long history and experience. The founders of the Joint Chiropractic, two brothers, Steve and Craig Colmar, were the founders of the Joint Chiropractic. And they really felt they had about 6 units in Texas, and they really felt like they had something that could be franchisable. So they went and got a mentor of mine, a guy by the name of John Lanesio, who was the founder of Massage Envy. So John sold Massage Envy in 2008. So this was like late 2009, 2010. John, I didn't have anything to do with Massage Envy, but John was my mentor in franchising. So I've been doing this about 18 years. And the only model I know is what he did with Massage Envy and then subsequently did with the Joint Chiropractic. And so they started franchising in 2010. 14 years later, they've got 1,000 units open. So once that franchise was fully developed, they started kind of looking around and looking at what their next concept might be. Let's do that again. And so they started looking at professional assisted stretching, looking at the marketplace, seeing what was happening. They did a whole bunch of research and said, it's still health and wellness, but we can do it better with our knowledge of the monthly recurring revenue model and how to put that together for a franchise. We can do that better. So that's kind of the origin. That's kind of where it began. I got involved early on as an equity partner with them in 2022. So they started kind of looking around and doing the research in 2021. 2022, because of my background working with John, and I've done multiple concepts with him, I started working on getting the FDD ready, and we never started advertising this franchise for sale until about October of 2022. And within 1 year, we have 205 licenses already awarded to our regional developers. So we're excited to be a part of the Perfect Franchise team. We've got lots of territory checks and excited to get talk to a lot of your folks.
Can I sneak in here? Because
Yeah,
I want to back up. I want to make sure we set the stage here. For those who aren't familiar, what is professional assisted stretching?
Great question. So professional assisted stretching is that you come into a studio, we call it a studio. You'll come into a studio and you'll meet with a stretching person that has been trained in all of our stretch protocols. The idea is that we all should stretch more. We know that, we could stretch, but here's what we do. We kind of go to the areas that we need to, my neck hurts, so I'm going to hold it over on this side. We can't stretch ourselves better than someone who has been trained properly to stretch you themselves, right? So what we do is we come in and we do an assessment on you, find out where your stretch restrictions are. And there are tables, and we lay you down on the table and we begin to stretch you the proper way with also what we call resisted stretching, so that we can loosen those muscles. So what the idea is that we put you in a stretch, elongate the muscle, get some resistance, let that muscle relax, and then put you again in another stretch. You can't do that type of stretching on yourself. And so it's right on trend in the marketplace. More and more people are understanding that not only can they get pain relief, more flexibility, those types of things, but when they have that equally on both sides, it reduces injury. And so we have a big, big marketplace out there, from youth athletes all the way to 75, 85-year-olds that want to be better on the pickleball court or golf or whatever.
Yeah.
Did that help answer your question?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, good.
definitely. So, Lyle, there's other examples out there, other businesses that are doing stretch and specifically in the franchising space. Help me understand the difference between iFlex and those businesses, and then the difference maybe between that and something like PT.
Yeah, appreciate that. So I will tell you that when I kind of started that they wanted to use that same experience that they had with the joint. These folks have been there before. They understand what the consumer's looking for. So the differentiators between us and the competition. By the way, we value the competition because it's softened up the market. More and more people are understanding the benefits of professional assisted stretching. The difference is, and the differentiators that we have, is that we create an overall experience. Most of the competition looks very physical therapy like. You open up the door, it's a big open room, there's a bunch of tables, people are getting stretched in front of everybody. So what we decided that we wanted to do was to create an overall experience. When you walk into an iFlex stretch studio, it's an experience that you've never had. So people walk into an iFlex knowing about the competition, and the first thing they do is go, "Whew, man, this is nice." I call it the exhale moment, right? So they kind of look around and the sights, the sounds, the smells, and they see these dividers between each table. So now that's a little bit of security, a little bit of privacy, right? The females especially enjoy that, right? It's just uncomfortable in that open area. So they start going, okay, well, this is different. I like that. Key differentiators that I just talked about there. But where the magic really happens is meeting with your stretch therapist. Because as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, we do an assessment. So we say, Andrea, what brought you in today? And you say, well, I'm at the computer all the time. My neck is always stiff. My back's. So what we do is we have about 8 different assessments that we can do based on the client, what they're telling us. So we do customized stretches for you. So you tell us that. We have you turn your head to the left and turn your head to the right. Oh, I can see you're restricted there. And they say yes. And so then when we lay them down on the table to begin the stretching process, that's what we continue to communicate. Hey, this was the side that you were more restricted. Here's what I'm doing. So you're getting an education about what we're doing to your body. And then at the end, we stand you back up and walk you through the same assessment. And that's what I call the aha moment, because now Andrea goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better I feel and how much more range of motion that I have." And then finally, so those are all the differentiators, but finally, it's the affordable price. So what we've always done in this business is find a business that we can make it professional, make it convenient, and make it affordable. And so when they get done with that, they feel better. Then we walk them up and we say, here's our membership program. In this business, you do 25-minute stretches or 50-minute stretches. And so you can get 2 25-minute stretches for $79 a month. And so that's an affordable price. They've had this great experience. They've had the exhale moment. They've had the aha moment. And they sign up. And that's what makes that monthly recurring revenue model work.
Nice. Nice. To piggyback on Andrea's question, I want to focus specifically on physical therapists. So are they competition? Are they more cooperators? Do physical therapists actually send people to iFlex? Because as a consumer, I'm not sure if I would know when I'm experiencing some difficulties in my body, when would I go to iFlex and when do I really need to go to a physical therapist? Can you help elucidate that?
Yeah. Physical therapists are a complementary service provider. As a matter of fact, we just closed today on someone in Jacksonville who owns 8 physical therapy clinics. The reason why he wants to do it is because now he's going to own iFlexes in his area, and he can take those patients. The deal with physical therapists, typically it's insurance driven, right? I've gone to the doctor, I've broken a bone. Okay, now you go to physical therapy. But then after that insurance runs out, the insurance only gives you so many sessions, 10, 15 sessions. Once that runs out, you still may need something. And so what he was doing was referring his patients to stretch therapists. And so one day he heard from me and said, oh my gosh, why don't I just own my own business and send them to my own businesses? So we call those complementary services. So that's kind of the difference. Now, the other piece is that a physical therapist or a physical therapist tech is ideal to be a lead stretch therapist inside one of our studios, because we can train them on all of our stretch protocols and processes. So that's kind of the link between physical therapy and stretch. It's an addition to or aftercare for someone who's been going through physical therapy.
That's good. So you talked a little bit about the stretch therapist potentially being a physical therapist or physical therapy assistant, maybe somebody who's studying exercise physiology. That seems like that's the person you're hiring. But who is your ideal franchisee? Who's buying this besides somebody that owns physical therapy places already?
Sure. Most of our franchisees are folks that love the health and wellness side. It's a huge industry. So they're kind of looking for that franchise that says, hey, I want to help people in my community. And this is a way to do that. We did that successfully with the Joint. The MO for the Joint is to normalize chiropractic care. Well, with 1,000 units open, what's happened is we've got a whole new group of folks who maybe never really tried chiropractic care because it was doctor and you had to deal with all kinds of different things, but they made it professional and convenient and affordable. And so that is exactly what we're doing with this one. So a franchisee is a person that likes the health and wellness industry. Maybe they're trying to find one that has a lower cost to entry. So a lot of those, wellness franchises, you got to build rooms and so forth. This one is a very low cost franchise, something to get started. So you can open multiple, people that look at it as a 3-pack because the costs are so low. So you're looking for somebody who likes the health and wellness, really wants to reach out to their community and help people there. They don't have to have any expertise in massage therapy or anything like that. We can help them hire those people to be the stretch therapist and get them trained up and certified in the iFlex protocols.
One of the things I really like about this model is it's what I call light retail, right? It's not super big. The build out isn't very complicated. Like you said, you can get into it relatively inexpensively, but I also love the revenue model. So I don't know how much you can share, but it's recurring. Can you talk about that? And also retention, if you're able to, how long you're keeping members, because I think that's what really attracts a lot of people.
And I appreciate that. And so let me kind of give you a model that I use, because we don't have an item 19. We're too new, right?
Okay.
So we don't have those facts and figures in there. We don't even have one of the units that's been our own corporate store, but we don't report on our corporate store. So a lot of the questions that you asked, I get asked all the time from prospects, right? And so the monthly recurring revenue model, everybody understands, right? If you're a sandwich franchise and you sell more sandwiches than anybody else and you win all the awards, the next month you're at zero. With a monthly recurring revenue, you keep adding members. You look in and go, hey, I got 30,000 coming in. I just got to add to it, right? So everybody gets that piece. But what they don't understand is what that means to them financially. And so in this business, it's all about membership. Think about it. There should be a trend here. Massage Envy, $79, one massage per month. You need more, you get the member rate. The Joint Chiropractic, $79 a month. You get 4 adjustments a month if you need more, right? So what we do is we set it up so that it makes it easy for them to sign up, because it's all about getting the number of members. So you want to get to 500 members, you want to get to 300 members, etc. So here's how I explain it numbers wise of the potential without doing any guarantees, no item 19. But I promise that if you send me one of your prospects, I will talk to them about this. So here we go. You want 500 members. So you do everything you can. You do all the marketing. They come in, they have the exhale moment, they have the aha moment, they have this affordable price, and you made it. You got 500 members. You look into the software and 250 of those members are giving you $79 a month. The other 250 are 50-minute stretchers. They get 2 for 158. So 250 members giving you 158. Your average membership is 118, right? So we've got 79, 158, 500 members. That's $118 a month out of those 500 members. 500 members at 118 is almost 60,000 a month. So that's a $700,000, $720,000 business. And I never one time said, and oh, by the way, certain percentage of those folks are going to get more than 2 stretches. That's your additional revenue. That's your upside. So in this business, we learned it with all of the brands that I've talked about. It's as fast as you can to get that acquisition to those memberships, and that's what creates the model that is most effective. An average massage MD probably does 1.3 now a month. That's $79. So the model definitely works, and that's just a good way for them to kind of get in their head that, yeah, it's all about the memberships.
Yeah, that's helpful. And I think, coming off of the backs of the Joint Chiropractic and then leveraging expertise from Massage Envy, that's where you're coming in with that model of this is the type of price point that works for this type of service. A little bit different than a massage, but I think that's helping you. Talk to me a little bit about insurance, though. And you mentioned that when you talked about PT. So they pay for physical therapy. They sometimes pay for chiropractors. So are people going to that? And then when are they deciding to sort of do membership? You said to continue on. Is this an insurance-based business at all? Is insurance company paying for stretch?
Yeah, it's not. And I usually make the joke, everything that we didn't like about the Joint, dealing with insurance companies and soap notes and HIPAA and all that stuff, we left that out for iFlex because it's very time consuming. So yeah, no insurance, but we are HSA and FSA approved. So a lot of the folks will use their health savings account to make the payment themselves. And so, I always say it's a cash business. You take their card, you put it on file, you hit their card every month. So no insurance, no soap notes, no HIPAA, all of that. Kris?
Yeah. We've talked a lot about how the Joint and even Massage Envy kind of informs the business model that you brought to iFlex. But what about infrastructure? Is there economies of scale advantages to having the Joint Chiropractic and 900 to 1,000 franchisees there when it comes to marketing programs for iFlex or purchasing discounts for iFlex? Is there anything like that where I, as an iFlex franchisee, benefit from the Joint?
I don't know that you would say benefit. I think the Joint is a complementary service provider. So, for example, we didn't do it on purpose. We were just looking for a space. Our store in Chandler, Arizona is right next door to a Joint Chiropractic. So they refer back and forth, right? So as a franchisee, certainly all the Joint franchisees know about us. It's the same founders. And so you would go and find the closest Joint and say, here, I'm over here. I'll stretch them when you're done. Matter of fact, most chiropractors like assisted stretching because they would much rather adjust someone who is not all bound up, right? They would rather, and we just had a grand opening in Noblesville, Indiana, and he actually had a partner chiropractor at the grand opening. And he was talking to his clients about the advantages of professional assisted stretching. So not with discounts or, hey, because of this, but a lot of referral type business for sure.
Excellent.
That's great. So Lyle, tell me the challenges of owning a business. And sometimes, with retail, people perceive that as sort of a higher liability. So hit on some of the challenges of owning this type of business.
Oh, there's no challenges.
Nice. Sign me up.
There's absolutely no challenges. Everything
no challenge, no risk.
Everything is perfect. It's pretty much everything that you have when you have a business. Certainly employees are always a challenge. We try to help that. I talked about this lead stretch therapist that you hire. So we have a program to help the franchisees with the employee side. So the first person that they'll hire is a lead stretch therapist. That's somebody who has and we talked about this a little bit ago, someone who has more experience. It could be a PT tech, it could be a massage therapist, it could be a personal trainer, kinesiology student, and so forth, because we bring them in. We have an incredible training program for them. And so we bring them in and get them trained in our protocols and processes, and then they become the person that trains the rest of the stretch therapists inside that franchisee studio. So when I say we help with the employees are always a challenge, right? I got to take the day off and I don't want to do this anymore. Those are the challenges that you have with any business. What we try to do is say, hey, if you need more stretch therapists, you've got your main person there, your lead stretch therapist, to help train them and, more importantly, supervise them to make sure that they're treating all of the clients. So those are employees are always challenges. I think sometimes clients are challenges. So we have helps on how to deal with them. We have incredible programs for the clients to refer customers, and of course that helps spread the word. Those types of things. I don't know if that answers your question totally, but those are some of the challenges. Other than that, there aren't any.
What I want to do now, Lyle, is pivot. So we're going to take the questioning outside of iFlex specifically, and just kind of try to glean some wisdom from your many years in franchising. So if you were talking to somebody who's seriously considering buying a franchise, any franchise, doesn't have to be iFlex, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, you're talking to the right guy. That's all I can tell you. I fell in love with franchising 18 years ago. John kind of taught me the concept. I love franchising so much that my license plate says franchise on it. Seriously. Okay.
That's a little weird, but that's all right.
And so you're talking to the right guy. And then what I tell even my clients, what I tell folks is that franchising is the perfect fit. We get the opportunity to help people get on the super highway of the American dream of owning their own business. And, I'm going to say the phrase, you guys all know the phrase. I say it to everybody I talk to, but it's so true. It allows you to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Yeah. And so even in my sphere of influence, my friends, they go, well, why franchise? They take all the royalties and but it's the support that you get. We've done all the heavy lifting. We've built all the programs, processes, and procedures that may take you 2 or 3 years to do. So that's a very short answer, even though it was long. That's what I would say.
No, I love it. Yep. So same question, but now you're talking to somebody who bought a franchise and they're in their first year, and we all know what that first year is like. It's always more difficult. Even with iFlex, it has no problems. It's always more difficult than they think it's going to be. So they're in the middle of it. What are you telling them?
Tell them to double down. It's always darkest before the dawn. This is growing pains. This is business. The difference is we're here to help. So when you need that, you come to us or you come to your regional developer, and we're going to work through it, and we're going to work through it together. And you wouldn't have that if you were out there by yourself. So double down, keep going.
Nice.
That's great. Well, Lyle, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. I think it's great to see a retail concept and a retail concept that not only is lower cost, but one that has recurring revenue, which is not as common in some of the retail spaces out there. So I think that was really great. And then really understanding that iFlex Stretch Studios came off of the backs of the Joint Chiropractic and a little bit of expertise also from Massage Envy. So building that into this next area of sort of health and wellness. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of people are focused on that nowadays. So I think they'll find a lot of value in this franchise. So thank you so much for coming on. So for those of you, if you're thinking about franchising, remember that while there's no one size fits all, the perfect franchise is definitely out there for you. To explore your options, visit theperfectfranchise.com and click on Let's Talk to schedule a call with a consultant on the Perfect Franchise team. We look forward to connecting with you on our next episode. Until then, take care.